Hey guys, it's Jess with Drifter Journey here. We're going to do an install video for you on how to install a dropper post on my mountain bike. I held off for the longest time on getting one because I kept insisting that I wanted to get a good deal, but time has come. We think it's going to up my performance a little bit, and we did find a decent deal. We bought the 1-Up version 2 dropper post, retails for $199, and then the remote for $49.99. You can find discount codes online. I think we got 10% off or something like that. It helps a little bit. So also on 1-Up's website, they have a tool that you can use to help you learn what size you need. So it helps you understand which part of your seat post to measure and then down into your seat tube so that you make sure to order the right one. The one that I ordered is 150 millimeter dropper post. So this video will be showing you how we're going to put it in. So it comes in the box, just pretty simple. It even says on the box, no fancy packaging, it's what's inside that counts. You can scan this QR code for instructions, otherwise it just says it real quickly on the back that before you install you need to check the air pressure on the dropper post with it fully extended, and the valve is located under the rail clamp. So we're gonna open it up here, and this is the rail clamp, so we're gonna take that off. It's just a size 5 Allen. And then we're going to use our shock pump to check the pressure. So once you take the rail clamp off, you'll see the place where you can check the air pressure here. So you just want to unscrew this cap, which is really tight and not easy to get to. Great, thanks to my lovely assistant and cameraman Greg, he got that loose for me. Stronger fingers. So don't lose that. Take your shock pump and we're going to screw this on. Also being careful not to misthread it or anything. Screw it on tight. You'll probably hear the gauge go. And right now we're at about 220. The box says between 250 and 300 psi, so we're going to make that adjustment here. Range is 250 minimum, and then max is 300. The 250 is going to be a slow return speed, and that's what I'm going to set mine at. I think with a lighter weight rider, you want it to be able to come up quickly but also go down easily. If you weigh more, you could probably go with a higher number and it would go down just fine, but I don't want to deal with it not popping down when I need it to. So we're going to start it at 250 and then see how it goes. We can make adjustments if we need to. So this is the remote. It does come separate. You do have to order it separately. You can order different brands. A lot of times the dropper posts are compatible with different remotes and vice versa. We did go ahead and just order the one from 1-Up. It got really good reviews and it seemed like it was a reasonable price point. So basically it just comes with the remote, the cable housing, and then the little clamp to mount it to the handlebars. So this should be pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna run the cable up the seat post tube, and then we have external cable guides here for outside of the down tube, and then we're going to mount the remote on the handlebar. So the remote clamp is pretty self-explanatory. We have the 22.2 handlebar clamp. Essentially what this allows you to do is clamp it around the handlebars and then line up this hole with one of 3 holes to screw it on for a little bit of variance in how close you want it for your thumb to reach it. I'm going to go ahead and do the middle hole and then see how that feels. The next step is then to put it on your handlebar and pick the angle that you want it at. This I'm not really sure about. I have small hands, so I want to make sure I can reach it. I don't want it to be at a weird angle, so I'm just going to kind of mimic the angle that I have for my shifter button, tab, whatever you call it. So we're gonna start with it kind of like so. I'll leave that a little loose so we can adjust it, but I think when I'm holding I can kind of reach it, and if I really need to I can maneuver my hand a little bit, so that should work pretty good. Okay, so next we're going to put the cable in the housing and then run it up the seat tube. So with the cable, one end has a little knob on it, one end does not. So obviously start with the end that does not have the little knob on it and run it into your housing. If ideally you have a pre-lubed cable, if you don't, then you can just put a few drops on there. It just helps keep that cable nice and loose. So you'll see that knob keeps it from going all the way in. Now the next step you're going to do, make sure this you do this the right way, is that for this you want the end with the knob to go up your seat tube. So what we're going to do is take my current seat post out, set that aside, and we have internal routing here. Most nice bikes do. So should be a little hole for you to shove it in. Should go in pretty easy, and then all you have to do is wait till it pops out the top, and then we can connect it to that dropper seat post. It's very simple. It's okay if the cable comes all the way out of the housing. We're gonna have to put that back in. Well, we needed to do it to cut the housing anyways. So anyways, this is very self-explanatory. There's a little button here. You can see there's a place for that knob to go on the end of the cable, so you simply slide it into that slot and let go, and it clamps it in there. It doesn't come out on its own. So very easy to do. Again, there's instructions on their website. So we're just going to pull that out and set that aside. Right, we're going to go ahead and cut this housing now where I made that mark. I don't have fancy wire cutters. I have needle nose pliers that have snips on them, so we're gonna make sure this goes through and hopefully we do a clean cut. My lovely assistant Greg will help me with this. I upgraded to fancy scissors. These are one of the most versatile things we have in the van. Get yourself some. Hopefully it doesn't ruin them. It's easier if I... Okay.
How's it look?
It looks okay, not too mangled. Alright, maybe if you're near a bike shop, go have it trimmed. Oh, did you take that off?
It's the original end cap.
Okay, so Greg slid the original end cap off of the other end and put it just back on that. That's so that it fits nicely in the remote. Okay, so now that the housing's the right length, we're going to put the cable back through and then attach it to the remote. So just jam that in. Should see it come out soon here. Yep, there it is. You see it right here. Pull that through all the way to there. We're going to push the...
Do you grease your seat post?
Oh yeah, we should do that. So the seat post comes with some lube. You want to make sure to lube it. The instructions say to lube it below where the seat collar is. Okay, so when I was pulling out the seat tube lube, I found a few extra parts. We've got some shims for the seat tube. We don't need to use these. If you do, check the instructions on how to use them on the website. We also found this cool little black part. You want to put that on the end of the cable, and it holds the end of the cable pretty nicely. And we have discovered what that's for. When you put this in here, it holds it nice and secure. So now it's all seated in there nice and flush. So back to what we were doing. Now I gotta run this cable again. Alright, so you don't need much. You can see maybe like that. It's probably good. And all we're gonna do is put a little bit all the way around. Doesn't need to be super sloppy or thick, just a little coat. So I'm just going to tighten this down. Doesn't need to be perfectly straight yet, but that'll help us. Cable, we're going to run this cable back to the remote. So you can see it goes in on the right side where the housing goes in, and then out. I don't know if you can see under there, little hole in the lever itself. Now we're going to pull this as tight as we can and tighten it. And Greg's probably going to have to help me with this because he can pull the cables a lot tighter than I can. Think it needs to be tighter?
A little bit.
A little tighter.
And you got a barrel adjustment too.
Yeah.
Which is all the way maxed out currently, so.
Maxed out. Loose?
Tight.
Okay.
We're going to bring it in a little bit so that you have a little bit of movement either way. So now it's loose again.
Okay.
We'll tighten it one more time. You can micro adjust it after that.
Okay. So what we're looking for is that the lever is responsive and there's not a lot of play. Did that feel good?
You tell me.
Yeah. You want pressure with a really loose cable. It's going to feel loosey-goosey in there. Obviously the cable's going to stretch over time, so I have to adjust that at some point, but it feels good. So from there we're going to have to cut this cable. It comes with one little clamp, so don't lose that. And then make some micro adjustments on the seat because we had to change that and it's probably at a weird angle now. We're also going to use some zip ties to zip tie it to the bike, so we'll get to that. So essentially you can see that the 150 millimeter length is going to be, this is as low as it goes. If we had done the smaller one, which was 120 millimeters, it could go down lower, but then I wouldn't have quite as much height unless we pulled the seat tube out a little bit, or sorry, the seat post out of the seat tube a little bit, which is possible, but then you have a little bit less rigidity in the seat tube. So I think this is going to work really well for me when the seat post is all the way up. I'll show you. That's like a perfect seat height for me for climbing and just regular riding, so that's going to work really well. Okay, so to finish this project up, like I said, we're just going to make sure that everything's tight and we're going to zip tie our cables down. So check all of your screws. There's 2 screws on the remote, the top one and then the little one underneath here. Double check those. Also, you want to double check the screws on your seat. You'll find out real quick on your first ride after this whether or not those are tight. Then the other thing is your zip ties. So these little ones work pretty well. We've got 3 zip tie points on this bike, here, here, and here, so very easily you're going to run those through and cinch them down and then cut off the slack, obviously. So that's it. That's how to put on a one-up dropper seat post. Let us know if you guys have any questions. Thanks for watching. We're Drifter Journey. Like, comment, subscribe. Give us some tips if we did anything wrong. Well, just after a quick little ride around the parking lot, I'm pretty impressed. I think it's going to be really fun. It does add a little weight, but that's okay. Greg's jealous. He said it feels smoother than his already, so I'm excited to get it on the trail.
And this one's $200. The one that came on my bike, I think, is $380. So I think if I get another bike or add another one, this is the one I'm going to go with. We'll see how it goes long term.
Yeah.